ARK Survival Evolved. It's been a journey. Through its 7-year reign, we've seen it go from strength to strength as it stuck to its name and really did evolve, with regular map drops, quality of life improvements and tender love and care to a range of creatures. But with ARK 2 seeming to be at least 12 months away, that's a whole year of improvements that could still be added to ARK 1 before its successor arrives. So what updates do you want to see? You're right kids, it's Raasclark and welcome to another top 10 as voted by you. Don't forget to like, subscribe, share around and let's get into it. So in number 10 is all missions for console. With the arrival of Genesis Part 2, a brand new take of missions were offered, akin to Genesis Part 1, but reborn following feedback to cater a new variety of side quests to beat and reward in the last canon map. But console players discovered something missing, with no hunt missions offered and still not included today. Having reached out to Wildcard for comment, sadly with no response, it appeared at the time it was a memory limitation to an otherwise giant map, perhaps hindered more so by the old generation consoles, and I wonder why Wildcard can't at least patch it to our latest generation consoles. In at number 9 is more Breedable Creatures. Last October we received a surprise but welcomed patch allowing rock drakes to be breedable as well as snails. Following wyverns and a variety of bugs before that, it was announced we'd be seeing more breedable creatures and, well, we haven't heard anything since. The most popular requests seem to be griffins and basilisks, but with so many creatures still unavailable to pop those offsprings, it's a wonder what exactly Wildcard had in mind and if we'll still see them. In at number 8 is permanently include every seasonal event. Delivered with some grave news, it was announced this year would be our last year of seasonal events, where new features, creatures, colours and rates are offered for a duration. In compensation, it was also announced all items would be available in the HLNA store as each event rolls out this year. But it seems you'd still like to see Wildcard to patch something in place to allow all events to stay in the hard code and let you continue playing them for years on end. The fact is, however, each event requires memory, and why a patch is dropped to include with each, and having every event built into the otherwise bloated size you already have is perhaps an impossibility, especially for previous gen consoles. But again, Wildcard wasn't available to comment when reached out to. In at number 7 is Center Map TLC. A fond favourite of older players, myself included, but it's hard to argue Center is by far the most dated map available, with later maps and their improved textures, assets, creatures and lighting especially dating it. So why not give it an overhaul, utilising the improvements seen with its successors and give it the fresh feeling it so desperately deserves, along with perhaps a map exclusive creature. As it happens, a mod version is being developed by Chris called the Center Reborn, already offering an aberrant overhaul of the underworld, jumping puzzle fixes and a new hot body rocking lava island, with promise of more to update and overhaul exactly what you want. It's a hope Wildcard may keep a close eye on this one. In at number 6 is Play As Dino on console. Teased at prior to Genesis Part 2 by co-founder Jeremy, it seemed Play As a Dino would be coming to ARK sometime in the future, a hark back to a previously teased trailer way back in ARK's early development. And whilst following the launch it seemed to allude this was simply the noggling, there was still a niggling feeling it would come, not least confirmed with a PC only admin command that now allows you to do as much in some shape or form. And perhaps that's all console needs, the same command to allow the use themselves. Why it's not been offered, we just don't know, and I hope the devs could still stealth drop it in for those gamepad users. In at number 5 is change stack sizes in single player settings. A simple and fair request by the community. Whilst stack sizes to items in ARK are understandably limited to what they are for the official offering, it bears no hardship on players wanting otherwise. Whilst it is a simple change of configuration for both PC users and unofficial servers for console, it doesn't seem too demanding to simply include it as a single player setting before starting the game. Perhaps it's because you couldn't simply set one new stack size for all items, looking at fertilized eggs for example, but certainly could be entertained to cover perhaps a selection of items for you single player users. In at number 4 is more Prehistoric Creatures. Being seen as a dinosaur game by many, whilst it's hard to argue in offering a world set in a land before time wasn't a huge attraction. Since ARK's first map, however, whilst the odd prehistoric creature has been included, we've certainly strayed more so to a fantasy-based offering. But yet you still desire more of those fossil fueling creatures to be addressed and included into the core game. Lest we forget, and unless stated otherwise, the Carcharodontosaurus will be dropping to ARK 1 at some point this year. And could there be more? And with that, more votes? We'll just have to wait and see. In at number 3 is building TLC. Hitting the most requested updates now, it's not a surprise to desire some attention to a new building set or additions to existing ones. Surprising really, we haven't received any major overhaul since the Homestead update in March 2019, but it appears we did almost have one. Confirmed by lead designer Craig Brown, we almost did get a brand new regrowing shale tier set with Genesis Part 2. Sadly though, it was met with a memory limitation blockade and as such had to be canned, though worth noting was at least considered and perhaps a nod to what we may get with ARK 2. In at number 2 is mod support for console. Heavily voiced by you, the desire to allow mods for console or even just one to be implemented to the core game is a welcomed one. It's no secret mods prolong the core game to unimaginable gameplay lengths, especially with so many offered today, reshaping and redefining a fresh new experience with each downloaded. But the reality is hardware. Again, old generation consoles especially hinder this, with simply not enough RAM to handle what can be stress inducing at times, especially when stacked with other mods. But there's hope yet, well, at least for the sequel. Confirmed recently, ARK 2 will support cross-platform mod support right off the bat, being managed by an external team. It's met with a lot of anticipation and wonder of how stable it will turn out to be. And before we get to number 1, let's just have a quick special mention to the update requests that didn't just make the cut. And here it is in at number 1, TLC to old unused creatures. Winning with a 57% vote at the time of this post, as we've progressed and new creatures offered sporting the latest makeovers, there's been a bunch left over in a very dated time loop to when ARK was released. Not to forget, many creatures have been given the TLC love, with what originally appeared to be a regular feature, breathing new life into dinos we started to ignore. But the fact is, we haven't seen a major overhaul of any creature since its Phase 3 iteration on November 2020, and with so many wanted covered exclusively in another voted top 10 video, there's a big request to see some time invested into TLC before the sequel arrives. Thanks all for tuning in. Did you agree? Comment below, let me know, and what more top 10s do you want to see voted for in the future? My name's Raasclark, don't forget to like, share and subscribe, and as always, peace out.